Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Now, from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Right, I've opened up my own card charge here in Bellingham, and we're going to be supporting Vintage, Legacy, all the Eternal formats, Pauper, Old School, Modern, you name it. That is going to be our focus as part of our ELD Open series. This is the first ELD Vintage Open. And first place receives this beautiful Lotus-style playmat with the date on there, custom, one-of-a-kind leather mat, as is everything that's leather, really. And here we go, James leading out with Gataxian Probe. Rich, very much the underdog in this matchup, Shops versus Oath. But it's hard to ever call Rich truly an underdog, a very accomplished player. Definitely one of my toughest opponents over the years. And Probe showing a hand with some Revokers and some mana. A little bit of resiliency with Mishra's Factories as well. So pretty high threat density, even though none of them are hugely overwhelming. Like we're looking down a first turn Lodestone Golem, followed with Sculpting Steels or anything like that. This is going to be not a lot of disruption, just some beats. And that seems like Oath is going to be pretty comfortable with that. Worth noting that the Walking Ballista can just fling over, no problem. If there is an Oath that shows up, Rich can pivot and try and keep his board clear until it is safe. And potentially just beat down with the factories is a completely reasonable plan. Phyrexian Revoker gets Force-a-Willed here from James. And Workshop comes up with another Revoker, forcing that issue and putting a little bit of downward pressure on James's life total. Like 3 damage, actually not 3 damage going to be coming in because James does have the Ancient Grudge, which is main deck. Filthy card versus Workshops. Also solid versus many control decks that are trying to assemble Vault Key. The fact that it's got flashback does make it difficult to truly deal with without it being card disadvantage. And wiping out your opponent's mana base is a pretty reasonable backup plan for the card. So very rarely dead. Sphere of Resistance hitting here for Rich. Now making those 2 lands look pretty unimpressive on James's side. And another Force of Will follows up, stopping. I'm not sure what the threat was, but almost anything worth Force of Willing here for James. It's about as good as Rich's deck is going to do, is to put additional threats on board. See, getting Tropical Island. Slow down the clock, or he can take out the Sphere of Resistance. Looks like very near lethal. There's a lot of cards Rich could draw that would make this lethal. See what this Ancient Grudge hits. It may be Academic at this point. That Sphere making it cost 2. Very difficult for James to have a follow-up play in the same turn. Looks like we're going to see an attack. And James will have 1 turn while still under that Sphere. Oh, and Factory is a problem. We've got lethal on board just with Rich's mana base now. So James in a world of hurt here. I don't believe the cards in his hand are strong enough. Even if they were, I think that Sphere, huge problem. Oath not going to get the job done. Passing back into lethal will mean James will never get to actually activate his Oath. And there we go. It's looking very grim. Game 1 in the books. Rich taking down Game 1. See what James can do with the play. Ideally looking to land a early Oath of Druids with Forbidden Orchard would be nice. Really force the issue. It is worth noting that Workshops can play around Oath to a degree. It's a known portion of the meta. This is very far from a a rogue deck, while it doesn't often make up more than, say, 10% of a given room, it really does force people to kind of be prepared for it. It is a very powerful strategy, and I believe it's done very well at Champs. Certainly, over the years, it's performed at Champs. I'm not sure how it's done in recent years. Speaking of which, we will be running Eternal Weekend Trials here at ELD's Time Ball Games. We have one coming up this weekend for Legacy. So March 9th, a Legacy ELD Open. Again, winner is going to get a buy round for the Eternal Weekend and a playmat similar to the one that you see featured here. Leather playmat with the date immortalizing your victory, and of course 100% of the prizes. The prize pool will be comprised of the entry fees, 100% of it going back out. So if we cap out at say 50 players, it'd be a $2,000 total prize pool going out to the players. On top of that, we've got the leather playmat, and every player is also going to be getting these wooden pins. I'll try and bring this into the camera a little bit. So this is the one for the Legacy event, but every ELD Open is going to have its own commemorative pin, limited edition, that every participant gets. Trying to do everything I can do to make these events as exciting as possible for everybody, and really give back to this awesome Eternal community that I've been just really fortunate to be a part of for the last, almost 25 years here. Rich thoroughly shuffling here, knows what he's up against. The card Oath of Druids at times is better than the entire deck of Workshops, but he does have some potential answers. Cards like Karakas, Grafdigger's Cage, Mana Denial can go a long way to stopping that Oath from hitting. It does seem like a tall order to stop a 2-mana spell from being cast, but Workshops does have the ability to do that, but they do need to get a turn. And here we go, Oath hits on the first turn, so this threatens to dictate the game. Oh, we've got double Grafdigger's Cage, so now James walks away from Library in order to get down this first turn Oath and continues to make his land drops. Interesting, so he does not have any intentions of drawing back up to 7. Just building his mana base. Arcbound Ravager along with a Mishra's Factory, presenting a actual clock here. And another Ravager. All right. It's worth noting that those Arcbound Ravagers can shift those +1/+1 counters over to a Mishra's Factory. So in the case of Oath of Druids, if those Grafdigger's Cages are answered, it's a lot to ask, man. Like, if he does have Ancient Grudge, the Grafdigger's Cage can be sacked onto the Arcbound Ravagers, and then once both of them are gone, those Ravagers can still sacrifice themselves to put the counters onto a Mishra's Factory and continue very, very violent beats, all the while still not having any type of creature on board during the upkeep for James. So this is a problem here. This is a legit issue. James kind of flooding out in mana. And is this Fiery Confluence, perhaps? Rich tapped out. Killing a few creatures. Killed 2 creatures. Not sure what that card was. Let me know in the comments if you could make out what that artifact destruction spell was there. Walking Ballista coming down. An awful lot of work being done with Rich's 2 mana. And looking at potentially lethal here. Arcbound Ravager plus Walking Ballista. We're talking 7 damage, and then just dump the counters onto Ballista and go for the throat. James has to know that he is, in fact, facing down lethal if he does tap out for something like a Gristlebrand. It may actually have to block. See what he's got. Now, he has not oathed at all this game. It's worth noting that depending on the creatures in his deck, you can oath. The creature will go to the top of the library, and it's almost like a tutor for your oath target. That can be useful with cards like Inferno Titan, Dragonlord, Dramoka. There's a bunch of different creatures that people have put in to be more castable for exactly this type of situation, but no such luck so far. We're going to dig through time. Seeing some lands and some counters so far. And almost a hand motion like he's scooping. Really not looking good. Is this Balance and Ancestral the two cards? So he's going to be able to clear. He is going to be able to clear the two creatures. Rich still no mana, so he cannot activate Factory in response. Not that he would want to respond to Balance. That would actually still wipe it out. So I guess in this particular situation, just no opportunity to put those counters on the man land. But flinging some damage over. Ancestral. See what Rich does here. I mean, that threatens another 2-turn clock. Looks like casting. Oh, wow. That's surprising. So it looks like he was casting a spell and then changed his mind and instead opted to animate Swing. That is surprising. James thinking it over and extends the hand. So there you go. Rich taking it down in 2 games in a very difficult match, typically. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.